today we are here to talk about obstacles and how we have overcome them in the past, present, and future obstacles that we are going to encounter. So, with that being said, there are a few things that I want to talk about. The journal questions for this week will be: describe an obstacle or intimidating situation in life that you have faced, and how might this challenge be an opportunity? So I really want to focus on that second question, how might this challenge be an opportunity? It's super important for us to think about how challenges in our life might actually not be a step backwards, but actually a step forward. So just really looking into a few things within yourself to really propel you forward. So we're going to talk today about those obstacles, and I'm going to give you an interpretation of that from my perspective. So the first thing that I want to talk about is there are all sorts of different types of obstacles. So for example, my most recent obstacle was I thought my week was going to go a certain way, and I had it all planned out, and things changed. We had a snow day, we have livestock to take care of, we have homework due that I just had right after vacation. There's just so many things that are like, oh, I didn't know that this was going to be on my plate, but I'm going to make it work. So just really having the mindset of I'm going to make it work, and it's not the end of the world. Everything in life is not always going to go according to plan. And even though in the last two videos we've talked about kind of planning and communication, both of those are key when you're facing obstacles, actually. So if you haven't watched those videos, go ahead and go back in my channel and watch them. But as far as obstacles go, adversity is something that we all face every single day, and it can look different. It can be adversity in friendships, adversity in schoolwork, just facing different obstacles. And what is most important to me is focusing on the positive. So this is something within the last year that I have really noticed actually makes a huge difference, is being like, okay, I can take on anything. It doesn't mean that I need to be negative or dwelling or comparing myself to others and how others are doing different things. It's okay to be your own person, and it's awesome to be positive. Everyone that you come in contact sometimes complains, and I do complain too. I'm not perfect, but it's important to take a step back and be like, you know what? I have a great life, and I am thankful for everything. So focusing on the positive helps you develop what is called a growth mindset, and that's something that I'm still learning about. But a growth mindset is when you're building on your successes and you're only taking what propels you forward from a situation that you learned from, and not standing back and dwelling on the past and what has already happened. So growth, just kind of thinking like I'm always thinking about the future, the next thing, like how can I use this lesson that I just learned in the future to maybe not make this mistake again or not face this obstacle again, versus having a stagnant mindset, which is like I'm not in control of what happens to me, which is true to a degree, but just kind of not really using your problem-solving abilities. And when you face obstacles, those problem-solving abilities are what is going to propel you forward and continue your success. So making sure that when you are using your problem-solving skills, when you're facing an obstacle, that you're also looking at a bunch of different resources. So in college, for example, there are resources. There's counseling centers, there's math tutor centers, there's writing tutor centers, there's your faculty, there's your fellow classmates. You're surrounded by resources. And I think my freshman year, I was really dwelling on a bunch of different things that was going on in my life that I was not in control of, and then it was impacting my academics, but I wasn't really using open eyes and looking around me and realizing how many resources were around me to help me. So really, when you face an obstacle, just making sure that you take a step back and you realize, okay, I can analyze what's going on, and I can analyze how I'm going to make it better. So when also doing this, it's a great idea to gain perspective of others. And this is something, if you know me in person, you will know that I do this all the time. I ask, well, what do you think? How would you solve this problem? And that's not me looking for other people to solve my problems or me being lazy or different things like that, but looking for resources and asking people for their opinion is actually a sign of maturity. So don't feel weak if you need to ask for help, or if you aren't really sure how to start something, and just not being afraid to ask others, well, what would you do in this situation? And you can take a little bit of advice from every single person and just think of how far ahead you would be than if you just were facing this obstacle and you didn't look to anyone for help and you're just trying to solve this on your own. There's a lot of people who were surrounded by our parents, our teachers, our friends, our coworkers, people who really have faced a lot of obstacles in their life and have overcome them, and they might be able to offer some great advice to you. And sometimes they'll offer you advice that you don't want to follow, and that is okay too. So just really going back to taking a little bit of advice from every single person and then developing how you're going to solve it, going back to your problem solving skills, deciding how that's going to work out and how that's going to look for you, and then going ahead and doing it. So you need those multiple vantage points for your call to action. So what will you do is the end thing. So you have this obstacle that you're facing, and you need to decide, what are you going to do for yourself to get you past this. So for example, if my car broke down and it wouldn't start, who am I going to call, or what am I going to do to make that happen, make that work? I can call my dad or my grandpa or my fiance, and I can say, this is what's going on, what do you think it is? Or I can call my insurance company and have them come help me. So that's an example of a really small obstacle. Or you can have an obstacle in school where maybe you're about to fail a class. I failed a class in college, and you just don't know what you should do. Well, before you get to that point, before you're about to fail the class, it's good to reach out for help, and going back to asking other people for their perspective. Well, what would you do? What resources do I have? Those are all great things to look at, and they would have helped me a lot my freshman year if I would have kind of taken that step back and looked around me. And then also you're going to come across personal obstacles and family obstacles, and just there are so many obstacles in life, but it's important to stay positive. So going back to the very beginning of this video, staying positive is really the key to success, because if you continue to dwell on things that happened in the past, you're really never going to move forward and develop that growth mindset that I had discussed. And so this week I am looking forward to hearing kind of some more different obstacles that you guys have faced, or if you are facing an obstacle and you feel comfortable sharing, I would be happy to help you through that and kind of come up with a plan. Planning and communicating with others around you is really the only way that you can successfully move past obstacles, and open communication with people you are working with is very important too. So just like I said, this week I just kind of faced a whole bunch of obstacles that I wasn't anticipating, and just really having open communication with people about what's going on in my life, what I'm going to do, what actions I'm going to do to keep these assignments turned in on time, make sure I'm helping where I'm needed, making sure I'm getting the work done at work that I'm doing and also at home. So it's okay to feel overwhelmed at times, and you can feel like you have a bazillion obstacles on your plate in one day, or you can feel like you have none and you're on top of the world. And it's going to change day to day, week to week, month to month, but it's okay, and you will do great. And I have faith in you guys. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to seeing your emails.